The Buddha sat beneath a grand banyan tree as sunlight filtered through its dense foliage. Casting dancing shadows, a group of disciples gathered in silence, their faces weary from sleepless nights filled with restless thoughts and worries. The Buddha raised his gaze, his serene eyes resting upon each disciple. As he began to speak with calm assurance, life is filled with burdens of the heart and mind. My dear friends, the Buddha began, his voice steady, we carry anxieties and desires that trouble our thoughts and prevent us from finding true peace. He continued patiently. A gentle breeze stirred the air, and the disciples felt a faint stirring of hope as they listened intently. Imagine a traveler walking a distant road, struggling under the weight of a heavy sack upon their shoulders. The Buddha said, the traveler grows weary not because of the road, but because of the burdens they refuse to release, he explained. If the traveler places the sack down and continues, they feel relief and a newfound lightness in their step, he added. The disciples nodded, their expressions thoughtful, as the Buddha's words began to resonate within their hearts. Life, he began, is like a river, continuously flowing, changing, and shaping the land it touches. I tilted my head, struggling to understand the depth of his comparison. Ananda paused briefly, then answered, I believe it is our thoughts and desires, Master, for they seem to consume us completely. The Buddha smiled gently, his approval evident as he said, Indeed, Ananda, our thoughts are a heavier load than any physical burden. When we cling to fears, regrets, or expectations, we imprison ourselves in the confines of a restless mind, the Buddha observed. The disciples shifted slightly, each pondering the moments they had succumbed to their own inner conflicts and attachments. Freedom comes not from running away but from looking inward, the Buddha declared, his tone steady and resolute. You must train your mind to be like the open sky, vast and unbound, allowing clouds of thought to drift through, he explained. The sky does not grasp the clouds, nor does it push them away. It remains unchanged and undisturbed, he elaborated. Likewise, when thoughts arise, observe them without attachment or aversion, and let them fade naturally into the stillness, the Buddha taught. He extended his hand, palm upward, and gestured as if releasing something invisible into the gentle breeze. Release each thought as you would release a leaf upon the flowing stream, he said, his voice calm and soothing. One of the disciples, a young man named Sutta, hesitated before speaking. Master, I find it difficult to let go, he admitted. The Buddha turned his kind gaze toward Sutta and said, This is why we practice. Dear one, release comes with mindfulness and patience. Each attempt strengthens your resolve. Over time, the heavy stones of attachment will transform into the lightness of understanding, he assured. Sutta nodded, his initial hesitation replaced with a quiet determination to embrace the practice of mindful observation. Before sleep, dedicate time to mindfulness, the Buddha suggested, his words imbued with the wisdom of experience and compassion. Close your eyes and turn inward. Observe your breath as it flows like a gentle river. Unhurried and serene, he instructed. Let each inhale refresh you and each exhale release your concerns. This rhythm will prepare your mind for rest, he explained. The night is not an enemy, but an opportunity to renew your spirit and find solace in stillness, the Buddha added. The disciples felt an unspoken connection as they shared their struggles, united by their desire to find peace and clarity. Remember this, my friends, thoughts are not your masters. They are guests passing through the hall of your awareness, the Buddha declared. When you embrace this truth, you reclaim your power and open the door to restful sleep and enduring relaxation, he concluded. The gathering fell into silence, the disciples immersing themselves in reflection, their burdens beginning to feel lighter than before. The morning air carried the scent of blooming jasmine, a reminder of life's ephemeral beauty. I approached the Buddha, finding him seated under the shade of a large banyan tree. The group reached a quiet clearing near a pristine lake, its water shimmering under the golden glow of the afternoon sun. The Buddha turned to his disciples and gestured for them to sit by the lake's edge, facing its calm and reflective surface. He began to speak, his tone soft and deliberate. "Look at this lake, my friends. Its stillness holds wisdom. The water reflects the sky and trees perfectly, unbroken and clear, because it is undisturbed by external forces," he explained. "When the winds rush and ripples arise, the lake's reflection distorts. Clarity is lost amidst the disturbance," he continued patiently. "So it is with your mind. A restless mind cannot hold tranquility. Just as disturbed waters cannot reflect the stars," he observed. The disciples nodded, their attention fixed on the serene lake as the Buddha's words illuminated their understanding of inner peace. Subhuti, one of the disciples, asked hesitantly, "Master, how can we calm our minds when thoughts rush like unrelenting winds?" The Buddha turned his gaze to Subhuti and replied, "Calm begins with breath. The bridge between body and mind. Focus on your breath, allowing it to flow naturally like a gentle stream that nourishes the earth," the Buddha instructed. "Each inhale is an invitation to peace. Each exhale carries away agitation and worry," he added, his voice soothing. "Feel your breath rise and fall as the waves of life, constant yet ever-changing in their rhythm," the Buddha elaborated. The disciples closed their eyes, following the Buddha's guidance. As they began observing their breath without judgment or effort, observe the stillness between each breath, the quiet space where the winds of thought find their rest, the Buddha suggested. "You will discover that your mind, like this lake, can return to stillness when you cultivate mindful presence," he continued. A disciple named Mahendra spoke next, his voice tinged with vulnerability. "Master, I find my thoughts loud and overwhelming." The Buddha's gaze softened as he addressed Mahendra. "Each loud thought is like a wave that temporarily disturbs the water. If you do not resist the wave, it will pass on its own, leaving the surface calm again," he explained. "Welcome each thought with kindness, neither grasping nor pushing it away. Let it fade naturally into the vastness of your awareness," he advised. Mahendra nodded, his face brightened with the hope that he could quiet his restless mind and find the peace he sought. The Buddha gestured to the lake once more, saying, "Its stillness reminds us of simplicity and acceptance. Both are paths to tranquility. The water does not fight the wind. It simply returns to its nature once the disturbance passes," he elaborated. The disciples reflected deeply on the teachings, their hearts and minds opening to the practice of breathing and mindful observation. "Remember this, my friends, the practice of calming the mind is not instantaneous but grows steadily with your patience and resolve," he encouraged. The Buddha allowed the group to meditate in silence, the sounds of the forest mingling with the peaceful rhythm of their breath. A cool breeze swept over the lake's surface, barely disturbing the stillness. As the disciples immersed themselves in newfound serenity, Rahula, the Buddha's son among the disciples, opened his eyes and asked, "Master, how do we strengthen this practice?" The Buddha replied, "Let mindfulness become your daily companion, not merely an exercise but a way of living. When you rise in the morning, pause to observe your breath, grounding yourself in presence and calm before facing the day," he instructed. "When you lie down at night, release the threads of worry and longing as you exhale into the stillness of sleep," he added. The practice becomes the flame of a lamp that illuminates your path wherever you walk, the Buddha said with conviction. The group felt a growing sense of unity, their shared experience reinforcing their commitment to the Buddha's teachings on tranquility. The Lake, still as ever, reflected the blue skies and towering trees as if embodying the lessons spoken moments before. The Buddha concluded, "My friends, as the lake holds its reflection, may your hearts hold the light of peace unwavering." The disciples bowed their heads in gratitude, their minds quieter and their spirits lighter than when the day had begun. The sun dipped toward the horizon, painting the sky in hues of amber and crimson, a reminder of life's quiet beauty. Another day, the Buddha invited his disciples to gather inside the monastery, where the flickering glow of oil lamps illuminated the room. The air was calm, filled with the faint aroma of sandalwood. As the disciples sat cross-legged, their faces reflecting quiet anticipation, the Buddha held a small oil lamp in his hands, its gentle flame dancing softly, casting light upon his serene expression. He began to speak, his voice steady and warm. "Look at this flame, my friends. It holds wisdom for our lives. This flame provides light and warmth without striving or seeking more than what it is. It embraces its purpose," he explained. "Our lives are like this flame. Simplicity is the path to contentment, but craving distorts and extinguishes our inner peace," he continued. The disciples listened attentively, their gazes fixed on the flame as the Buddha's words guided their understanding of harmony within. A disciple named Chandra spoke softly, "Master, I often find myself yearning for what I do not have. How do I stop?" The Buddha turned his gaze to Chandra and replied, "Yearning arises from attachment and expectation, which fuel the fire of dissatisfaction. Let go of the need to control outcomes. Accept what is, without resistance or longing. As the flame accepts its nature," he said, "reflect on gratitude for what you already possess. This gratitude becomes the air that nurtures your flame of inner peace," he advised. Chandra nodded, her heart moved by the simplicity of the Buddha's guidance. Resolving to embrace gratitude and release attachment, the Buddha placed the lamp gently on the floor and gestured toward it, saying, "See how the flame settles in still air. When the air remains calm, the flame does not waver, and its light shines steadily and peacefully," he elaborated. "This stillness is the essence of relaxation. It arises when you release regret for the past and fear for the future," he explained. The disciples reflected deeply, each considering the moments they had carried emotional burdens that disrupted their inner peace. The Buddha continued, "Before sleep, bring your thoughts into stillness by reflecting on gratitude and acceptance. Let simplicity be your guide. Acknowledge the experiences of the day without clinging to them. Release regret and embrace the present moment with gentle humility," he instructed. A disciple named Nanda asked, "Master, how do we calm our thoughts when they seem to rush uncontrollably in every direction?" The Buddha replied, "Calm arises not by fighting thoughts but by observing them without attachment, letting them flow as a river flows. Each thought is a ripple in your mind. Let the ripple pass, and your awareness will return to stillness," he advised. Practice this observation without judgment or effort. Over time, your thoughts will lose their power to disrupt your peace, he assured. The disciples closed their eyes, following the Buddha's guidance. As they began observing their thoughts with patience and mindful presence, the Buddha said, "Let simplicity be the flame that illuminates your path. In this simplicity lies true relaxation and restful being. This practice is not a destination but a journey. It grows as you cultivate mindfulness and release attachment daily," he encouraged. A disciple named Devadatta spoke hesitantly, "Master, sometimes I fear that I am not doing enough to achieve peace. What should I do?" The Buddha's gaze softened as he addressed Devadatta. "Peace is not achieved through doing but through being. It arises from acceptance. Do not measure your worth by achievements or failures. Simply embrace the present and let your flame burn gently," he advised. Peace cannot be forced or chased. It blooms naturally when you release expectations and align with simplicity, he said. Devadatta nodded. His face brightened with understanding. Resolving to practice acceptance and let peace arise without pressure or force, the Buddha concluded. My friends, simplicity is the foundation of true relaxation. Let it guide your hearts as the flame guides your steps. The disciples bowed their heads in gratitude, their minds and spirits lighter, embracing the path to deeper rest and serenity. The oil lamp flickered softly, its gentle flame embodying the lessons the Buddha had shared, illuminating the room with quiet grace. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.